I'm Yemini for Rebel News in Melbourne, Australia, outside the Supreme Court of Victoria, where we just finished our 2-day trial fighting for press freedom. If you remember last year when I attended Daniel Andrews' press conference and I was kicked out and banned from the Parliament precinct for 7 days.
So you're not permitted to return here for 7 days?
At the request of Daniel Andrews, the Premier's personal assistant.
The Premier's PA doesn't want him here at the conferences.
So from 7 days, Rebel News is not allowed anywhere here.
Correct.
Representing us on this important case was probably Australia's most well-known media lawyer, Justin Quill, with counsel Will Horton QC. They say the only thing worse than representing yourself in such cases, especially up against the government, is having a bad lawyer. And that's why at Rebel News we choose the best. And Will Horton QC from the Owen Dixon Chambers across the road is the best. And it was clear by the end of the hearing as to what makes him the best. You saw that the government's counsel was struggling, fighting with every last breath, because it really felt at the end that the judge was seeing this case for what it is. In summary, for those that haven't been following the last 2 days, I know most of the world has been watching what's happening, but for those that haven't, what's happened here?
Well, there's two steps to this. The first is they're claiming that decisions made about the parliamentary precinct by Parliament can't be considered or reviewed by this court. So if we get over that hurdle, we get into the second step. That is, was the process that was undertaken appropriate? You know, did they afford you natural justice? So they're the two hurdles. If we lose on the first point, we don't get to the second. If we win on the first, then the judge will look at the decision-making process and whether that was appropriate.
So this entire case was really about the idea that Daniel Andrews and the government can pre-select who is going to hold him accountable, especially in an election year like this year, in the Parliament of Victoria, in the corridors of power. We say that new media, like Rebel News, even though we don't necessarily support many of the government's positions, we believe we have the right to hold him accountable. If anything, we're probably going to hold him more accountable than his friends, those that he controls, the ones he allows in Parliament. After 2 long days, I believe we've had a pretty fair trial. The judge has reserved his decision, and, well, once we get that answer, once he comes back with his ruling, you'll be the first to know.
I feel pretty good about it. This is a really smart judge. He was really engaged. He followed everything, and it'll be really interesting to see whether he agrees with our arguments. I hope he does, of course. I think it's interesting. We still don't know, after 2 days of hearing and a whole lot of documents back and forth, we still don't know who the decision maker was, because the Speaker, who is the only person we say can make this decision, did not give any evidence, didn't put on an affidavit, and we're told he didn't do that in part because that he didn't want to be subject to cross-examination. So we say that allows the judge to draw an inference against the other party. If his honour does that, that puts us in a better position. But anyway, there are some other really interesting parts of this case, like this question of exclusive cognizance. Can this court consider the decision of Parliament? So look, it's going to be interesting. I hope we've won. I feel pretty good about it, and I think it'll be the right decision if we have.
If you think this trial is as important as I think it is, it's not about us. It's about standing for press freedoms in Australia, for new media, for those that are really going to hold the government accountable. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, share it far and wide. Let people know that there may be hope this election year. And if you want to ensure that I can continue to have these legal battles without worrying, holding the government to account, making sure that they cannot make decisions such as this one where they stop press they don't like from holding them accountable, please consider donating to my legal fund, avilegalfund.com. avilegalfund.com. We cannot do this kind of stuff without you. We cannot fight these fights without your generosity. AviLegalFund.com. Thank you very much. Thank you, mate. Until next time I need you. So you got time next week? Thanks, mate.